sorry, it's just so frustrating. You can, I watch you talk about it, and I can just see the frustration.
Yep, every day. It's a struggle every day. Also, teachers are not skilled with signing. You know, they can use, signing exact English, but that's not the same as using ASL, or they'll train SimCom while they talk and sign, and hopefully that the kid will be able to use their hearing aids and read the words on the teacher's mouth, but the kid still doesn't know what the teacher's saying. So for all kids, in a big auditorium, the deaf students are at a disadvantage because they don't know what the teacher is saying, and there's no sign language involved. And I've worked in that kind of situation too. What did they say? I don't know. It's just it's an awful experience. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that. Like in elementary school, in high school, I'm much more emotional talking about this and how awful it is. Whether it being troublesome or whatever, it doesn't matter. They don't allow this kind of communication. So if, like for example, the boys have hearing aids and they can hear like a bell going off or they need to go to the bathroom, they're able to notify the teacher they have something they need to take care of. But the thing that's missing is that the teachers really need to be able to sign. It's a huge disadvantage for the kids because they're so confused, they're lost, they're frustrated, but they're all very stubborn about how they're taking care of this the way it is now. We're just sitting and watching. But then if they get up and you need to sign. Well, no, I don't speak well. I want to be able to, just sign. Okay, so like if my boss came in the classroom to do a class evaluation, be able to watch the students and survey them, how the kids and the teachers relate, it's very frustrating because there's no two-way communication. If the teacher's talking, but he's not signing, they feel very taken aback and they don't know what they need to do. They're not using their common sense. Obviously, it's a deaf kid. They need some sign language to be able to understand.
So in your opinion, and I understand it had to be hard when you were 2.5 years old to go to a residential school, do you feel it's better for deaf children to go to residential schools or to be in deaf programs in public schools?
Mm-hmm. I don't really remember back then.
Right, but I know it had to be hard for you to leave your family, for your family to put you in one of those schools. But do you feel it's better for deaf children to go to a residential school than to be in a deaf program in a public school?
I mean, for me, I preferred going to a residential school because we could sign. There was communication there. We could communicate and have friends, even if it was strict. It was still beneficial.
How many of the parents now sign? What about those kids? What do you think for the children now, 2018, deaf kids now? What's a better route to education, residential or mainstream?
residential if they're able to commute, or mainstream is fine. You know, whatever is better. But if they do residential, I would say being able to commute back and home is better. Like when I was a senior, my niece, she was also 2.5, was sent off to residential school. But while being involved in sports, so there was one time I was in volleyball practice or sports practice after school, and my niece, she called me. She needed to get a hold of me at my niece's school. Fortunately, it was close enough where I could walk, but she was crying and crying because she didn't want to be left alone. She wasn't sleeping, she wasn't eating. She was just a wreck. Unfortunately, I was able to comfort her, but looking back, it was heart-wrenching to be able to see that, and I had to try and explain to her what was going on. It was really, really tough and emotional. So, yeah, I remember how awful that was. 2.5 is really young. My deaf brother and his kids, they are not going off to, staying in dorms. They're commuting. And they're involved in sports, but they don't have to stay in the dorms.